All right, trucks at Darlington. We're at 16 to 1 minus 257. These are all comfort base except for brake bias. Brake bias doesn't matter too much. You just want to keep it low enough till we get some rotation on entrance of 3. But it gets to a point where entrance of 3 is really loose to begin with. So honestly, I don't personally believe your brake bias is going to affect too much here. So don't worry about it too much. Track temp here, I think we got 112 right now, so it's pretty warm. I think some sessions you can get even in the 80s in the right weather. So keep that in mind. Don't be just straight looking for lap time on this video. And for all videos for that matter, because when the track temperature really varies, you can't really just straight compare lap times on different track temps. You just gotta follow the line, try to work the best that you can on it. So this is probably gonna be a second lap hot lap. I'm gonna go somewhat easy on the first lap because the cold tires doesn't really work in turn 1 and 2. I'm gonna try and then probably bail. So I go to about 60-50% throttle, and then I let go, let the car slide up to the wall, and then go full throttle at the wall. Car turns back down the hill on its own. Yeah, you see no grip there. The car should be turning down there without the right rear sliding, but we need a little bit warmer tires for that, so we'll be getting that on this second lap. There's 2 ways to approach turn 3 and 4. You can run the very bottom, or you can start really wide and kind of just late apex it in a way. That's probably what I'll be going for. I'll tell you more about it. So get more grip on entry here. Didn't get all the way to the bottom, but should be fine. Gonna really go up here, then turn back down the hill. Get that really late apex angle. Ooh. Didn't quite get all the way down there. That's why I got loose, but it was more or less good. Starting out wide here. Try to let the car not slide up. Get back on the gas as soon as the car stops sliding up. And just try to stay on the gas all the way through. There we go. Track probably cooled down a degree or 2.
New fast lap for you.
That's why that was that much faster. But that's how temperamental it is. I think my last lap was on a 2-degree hotter track than it is right now. And it was a 1/10.5 easy. And I probably had room for like 2 or 3 tenths on top of my last one. So that's how temperamental this track is to track temperature. But let's take a look at the lap here. So entrance to turn 1. The actual amount of throttle that you let go is going to vary. What you want to make sure is that you go down to the amount of throttle that allows your car to really handle neutrally as you turn down into the here. You don't have to get on the brake. You can always be on some sort of throttle, but the amount of throttle is going to vary. So right here, I really want to get a little tiny bit lower than this. This isn't perfect, but it's good enough. And so I just hold, you see how I hold that amount of throttle through my first apex? And then as I start getting up to the wall, I notice my car start to straighten out. And I don't want to immediately diamond the car off the wall. So what I'm doing is I'm preemptively raising the throttle and unloading the wheel so that I end up with max throttle right before I get to the wall. Because that last bit of throttle is going to rotate our rear that final little bit to get us completely parallel with the wall. And then we stay here for about a second, maybe 2 seconds. It's really a rhythm thing. This is really a practice thing. You want to be turning down the hill around this lift kits for less. That's what I found is a good turn down point. And then you want to get all the way down and late apex. Oh, this was almost really good. I just asked for a little bit too much out of the car. You want the car to have a really sharp turn down without disengaging the rear. I think if I'm a little tiny bit higher here at this point, then I can make that sharper angle and avoid this loose condition. But for hot lap, it's completely fine because I somehow survived that. But just know that you can avoid this if you stay higher for longer and you really get that sharp turn down. Now, how do you get that sharp turn down? Well, full throttle keeps you parallel to the wall, and then off about half throttle will turn you down sharply, and you add maybe a little bit of steering wheel, but you see that I really don't add that much steering wheel. Like you see how it got loose there. Excuse me. And so you don't really need to turn any extra, just a little bit maybe, but it's all about the off throttle and then back onto it so that you can drive through that final part of the diamond. So drive full throttle through the final part of the diamond. That should help your rotation on exit. And I got too much rotation there, but that was okay because I somehow held on to it. 3 and 4. So 2 ways to go about this. What you really want to avoid is entering the corner and sliding up the track. On the colder track temperatures, you can do this. But on the hot track temperatures, I really would advise against it. There's a lot of ways to do this, and I'll go over each of those ways when we get out onto the long run. But the way I did here was a slow, wide entry with the goal of getting on the throttle early. So I broke early and then tried to aim for this seam right here. And you see it still slid up on its own a little bit. That's just how hot the track is. I wasn't trying to slip up, but you kind of see that if you are dive bombing a line to slip up to begin with on a hot track, it's just not going to usually work. So the other option is that you can just roll the bottom of 3 and 4. You can ride right by the top too, but I find that on a hot track, you don't have a lot of breathing room and you probably have to lift a little too early for a hot lap to make sense. So I like to take this route where I seemingly enter wide and lazy into the corner and then just hold my trail brake. And then, yeah, it's going to be sliding up, but you can see I kind of throttle through the apex. And from there, it rotates my car and I'm able to diamond this corner a little bit. I don't love the diamond. For hot lap, I'll tolerate it. For a long run, I really don't like it. So I'd keep that in mind. In fact, speaking of long run, we'll go talk about it here. The thing about diamonding when you don't have to diamond is you just have more lateral movement across the track. And if you think about the surface of a tire, the tire wants to roll forward. It doesn't want to move side to side. That's where it's all just pavement on rubber and no like rolling motion. So if you can avoid the diamond, you should avoid the diamond. Now 1 and 2, we hella diamond because you gotta. There's just no other line. But 3 and 4, you can drive it a little bit easier, and you can just keep it on a line, and that'll avoid a lot of that tire wear that comes with that. So I'm going to go really easy here, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is the same line as qualifying. There's really no reason to approach it differently. What might happen is, no grip on lap 1, by the way. What might happen is that very top line by the wall might slick off because of dynamic track. And if that happens, you have to kind of avoid that top line. So you see I'm just holding my brake and just not allowing the car to shear up the track. I'll go a little bit harder this lap. That was a little bit slow, obviously, but that's just lap 1. Cold tires are a menace on this track. So we're going to send it a little more here. A little bit loose, that means I was carrying a little too much throttle, but we're still going to try to get that turn down. This turn down is the most important part. We always want to end up at the bottom and back up here. Then turn 3 and 4, I'm going to try my favorite line here. This might be a little bit too deep. No, it worked. I really like just rolling this right here. I feel like this is the easiest line. It might not be the fastest always, but for me, I find that it's the easiest to execute. And as your tires wear, you're going to have to lift more on the entrance of 1, but your goals are still to hit all of these same marks. I did not make it all the way to the bottom there, so that wasn't quite as good. Again, I really think that this is just the simplest line for a long run, just running the bottom here, rolling the bottom, not worrying about your tires. As long as you're rolling that line, your tires should be completely fine. You'll know that you're pushing too much if you're like getting back on the throttle and the car just shoots back up the track. That means that you overdrove entry or you're picking up throttle too much. Wah! Don't do that. That was just a mental break. My car, that wasn't even forced to do that. Let's try a high line here. See how it compares. Yeah, it's just like my right rear just wants to slip out so much more there, and we're not really getting much more of a run up top than we were on the bottom. Just because on this hot track, the right rear only has a certain amount of grip, and we kind of reach that limit on the top of what the right rear can handle better. And we come up to that limit on the bottom. And we can use that kind of slide up at the exit. Yeah, you see like we're losing like 3/100ths on a straightaway. Bottom line versus top line. Like what's the point of running the top line if the bottom line is getting runs like that? So really practice that bottom line. I'm pretty sure with dynamic track, every line in 3 and 4 will become viable at some point, but you just approach them all the same. You just early enough entry so that your car never slides up once you get to your line. You can see how my car never slides up. It just kind of gets there and it sticks. And we just roll our throttle all the way through. Truck you can get on full throttle fairly early because of the lack of horsepower. Xfinity, you can't get away with that. Oops. So right here, I ended up not going all the way out to the wall, so I'm going to have to lift a little bit more and kind of survive the corner exit. That just shows you how difficult it is to survive 1 and 2 if you're not tracking all the way out to the wall. Oh, I overdrove 3 and 4. Ah, that's fine. That's fine. As long as the car's not sliding up, it's fine. If you have to use too much steering wheel to keep it on the bottom 2, that could be an issue. But usually you lose the grip first. So yeah, all the way up to the wall, early off throttle, get the car pointed back down, really simple exit. So much better. Let's try top again. Ah, not the wall. Like I'm pushing that top. I don't know how much faster I can go there. I don't think I can go much faster there, and I'm just not even getting a run. Oh, I don't know why I broke there. I'm mental blocking. That's another thing about Darlington. You really got to keep focus, which is hard to do while talking. But we'll come to the start-finish line here. We'll check our tires. I think I'm driving this car in a way where I should be fairly even on my tire wear. It doesn't feel that bad. Yeah, like, come on. Like, the bottom is getting just as good of runs as the top. So yeah, they'll depend on track temp though, so search around for sure. I think cooler track temps, the top might start being better because the right rear has more grip to throttle up earlier. 96, 94, yeah. So I want to hang out the right rear a little bit less, but like at Darlington, we're really, in the trucks, usually worried about the right front. So I think I'm happy with this. With just less mistakes, this would be essentially even. But all right, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.